Hashirama Ito Tensei matched Madara. On one side, Hashirama stood still, restrained by chakra receivers. On the other, Madara was sealed beneath the divine gates. But what if things were different? What if Hashirama were alive at the peak of his power, and Madara revived through Rinne Tensei? The versions used Hashirama alive in sage mode with the power shown up to the Valley of the End, versus Madara alive, wielding a single Rinnegan. Now let's go over their abilities. Madara awakens the Rinnegan after combining his chakra with Hashirama's cells, decades after the first battle against Hashirama. This power grants total control over the 6 paths. Chakra absorption, as we saw him doing. He didn't use other paths doesn't mean he didn't have them. One that will be useful in this battle is the human path itself. Even Madara with 1 Rinnegan, yes, he is capable of using it just like Obitu's words. I could get information from him referring to Yamato, but that would kill him, Obito, with 1 Rinnegan. Just didn't do it because Yamato would be useful to strengthen the Zetsus. Madara's Limbo, exclusive technique of living Madara with Rinnegan. They are invisible to those who do not possess the Rinnegan, or the powers of the 6 paths. Madara can activate the perfect Susanoo, even alive with Rinnegan. The answer is yes. Sasuke himself says that this is a power only those who awaken both Mangekyo have. This means it's necessary to obtain Susanoo in both eyes to awaken the power. And in Madara's case, he had already awakened it in both. His chakra is fused into his body or in a body that is not his original one. Like Ito Tensei bodies, even without eyes, Madara alive used Susanoo to block the attacks of the Bajor. Mangekyo Genjutsu works? The answer is I believe yes, because Madara Ito Tensei could switch since they weren't his original eyes. Now he alive has the original Rinnegan and there's no way to deactivate it. Madara's Rinnegan is not special like Kaguya's Sharingan, known by us fans as the Rin Sharingan, and it's not special like Sasuke, which has Tomo. Madara in this form possessed Hashirama's cells, which made him more resistant and with heightened perception. He could create a wooden forest, etc. Conclusion. Living Madara with Rinnegan is the perfect fusion of the power Nagato used. The power of Hashirama, but still doesn't reach. Hashi's peak of physical strength and legendary techniques. Limbo, perfect Susanoo. Wood style, ninjutsu absorption, and even soul extraction make him one of the most fearsome shinobi in history, capable of challenging any ninja alive or dead. Let's talk about Hashirama, the man born with a unique Keki Gankai through the elements of water and earth. His genetics create the powerful wood release. The stronger he becomes, the larger he grows, summoning the legendary wood dragon. Everything about him is made of wood, capable of creating forests, golem, and was capable of fighting Madara. It was with this technique that Hashirama stood against the Shusenryu. Senpo, Mokutun, Shinsenju, Sage Art, true thousand hands technique. His ultimate summoning, a colossal Buddha with 1,000 arms. This technique crushed the perfect Susanoo, along with Karama that Madara, Uchiha used during the legendary battle in the Valley of the End. If Hashirama uses his wood forest with pollen, Madara can activate his perfect Susanoo and stay above the forest, where the pollen's effect doesn't reach. And if Madara uses it, Hashirama does the same with his wood golem technique. Hashirama used the 1,000-armed Buddha at the Valley of the End, and Madara, to counterattack and defend himself from those devastating attacks, used Susanoo Magatamas along with Bijdama that destroyed parts of Hashirama's attack. And even so, Hashirama managed to destroy part of the Susanoo and Madara survived. Now, this Madara, who doesn't have a tailed beast to help him in counterattacks, is left only with the Magatamas. Would that be the end for Madara? The answer is yes. Hashirama at his peak is very strong and would defeat Madara. Just kidding, guys. The real answer is no, because this Madara has Hashirama's cells, even if the Susanoo breaks. he would still be able to withstand it. He took several attacks from the tailed beasts and endured them. He was forced to activate the complete Susanoo. Otherwise, things could have gone badly. He ended up losing one arm, if you're still not convinced. And you're one of those more analytical fans. You might say that Madara revived by the Rinne Tensei wouldn't withstand the true 1,000 hands, because the attacks of the tailed beasts don't compare to Hashirama's. If you thought that, it's because you're more observant. But here's my answer. When Madara saw that the Susanoo couldn't hold out, he could simply use Rinne Tensei to repel those attacks. So, who would win this fight? Hashirama likes to start his fights by covering the battlefield. Then they move on to their avatars, Susanoo on one side and his wood golem on the other. We saw both at the Valley of the End and in the Fourth Great War, where Madara and Rinne Tensei. Hashirama fought using their avatars and later switched to hand-to-hand combat. Madara even managed at the Valley of the End to bite Hashirama and tear off a piece of his flesh that Madara didn't even have Hashirama's cells, which give greater perception, while Hashirama had his cells completely. So where am I getting at? At some point, Madara could put his hand on Hashirama's head, read his mind, and as a result, pull out his soul. Another way to win would be with the black receivers. Madara is very skilled at using them and could immobilize Hashirama's body just like he did against Ito Hashirama. At some point in battle, they test their strength with swords. Madara, alive with one Rinnegan, is capable of using one limbo shadow, and after a short time it returns to his body. With both eyes, he can make 4 shadows and keep them for longer. Since we're using this version of Madara with a shorter duration, the limbo could still attack Hashirama even with Sage Mode. He wouldn't be able to sense it. He would need 6 past Sage Mode, also called Rikadu Mode or Rinnegan, to see it. Hashirama wouldn't be able to. Sensed it and would simply be struck without knowing where the attack came from, or Madara could simply use his limbo shadow to hold Hashirama, making it easier for him to finish him off with black rods. This would be a third possible way. But if Hashirama used the ceiling gates to trap Madara first, would it work? The answer is no. When Madara was revived by Rinne Tensei, he destroyed them with brute force. If the gates were falling from the sky to hit Madara, he could use Limbo in the last seconds to destroy them, or use Rinne Tensei to repel the attack. Hashirama needed the wood dragon to neutralize Madara, Ito's chakra, and then trapped him with the gates. But Madara broke free once he became truly alive. Would that dragon be able to restrain Madara? The answer is very unlikely. Madara has extremely high sensory perception and also has Sage Chakra from Hashirama. The real problem would be Hashirama controlling the dragon to grab Madara. While Madara could use Limbo to strike Hashirama, that would be a serious issue. The fight would extend, but eventually it would reach close combat. Madara would have some difficulty locating Hashirama, since he's alive and using Sage Mode, but still. Madara has the advantage, using Limbo to attack or restrain Hashirama for a moment, opening a gap to strike with black receivers to the heart, place his hand on Hashirama's head to pull his soul, or immobilize him with several rods and finish him off. So yes, today's winner is Madara, because of Hashirama's cells that gave him the Rinnegan, the ability to pull souls and Limbo's overwhelming power. I know there are many other powers I didn't mention, on both sides, but I think most of them wouldn't really change the fight, unless you believe a specific ability could turn the tide. So tell me what you think. Would it actually work, or would the other one still win? That was my take on how this battle would go. Agree or disagree? See you in the next video. I'm out.